Kyle Henderson here at BamaInsider.com talking with Tony Tsoukalas. Alabama held their first scrimmage on Saturday. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Saban during his press conference seemed like he was pretty pleased with the scrimmage as a whole. Obviously, he said that there were some mistakes from younger players. There were some gaps maybe in the secondary. He mentioned some other things that need some work. That's to be expected. Another thing he mentioned, and this is kind of a classic thing he always mentions, is the fact that Alabama's playing Alabama. So it's going to have to lose on one side. So I think maybe the offense was a little bit ahead of the defense to start, but that's just kind of a process right now.
Coach Saban mentioned during today's press conference that he was really impressed with Jalen Hurts today. He said over 50% of his passes. Your thoughts on what he had to say about Jalen?
Yeah, 4 touchdowns too, and no interceptions is probably the most important part. He went into the day kind of talking, or not went into the day, but earlier in the week, said that he was looking for better decision making, better reading of the defense from Hurts, and it sounds like it. We didn't get any stats and we didn't get to see the scrimmage, but it sounds like Hurts was able to do those things, and it sounded like Saban was impressed with him, and just kind of impressed with the passing performance in general. They mentioned play action passes a lot, and I think that could be something that you see from the Balls offense a lot with play action passes. That's a very, very pro style attack, and coming from that kind of system, that's something that the Patriots do too. So that's interesting to hear that as well.
We both got to see Tua and Jalen as well as Mac Jones earlier before the scrimmage. Really impressed with Tua's deep ball.
Yeah, Tua spun a really nice ball in practice. That was mentioned in our practice report. But that's taking nothing away from Mac Jones or Jalen Hurts.
Absolutely,
they both threw. All the quarterbacks looked pretty good in practice. It's also really hard to kind of judge how good someone is throwing to a wide open receiver and in whatever. I think we had 10 minutes to watch them, but Tua did steal the show, but it looks like Jalen might have stole the show in an actual scrimmage.
Coach Saban also hit on the fact that Calvin Ridley, as well as Robert Foster, and then T.J. Simmons had big days.
Yeah. Calvin Ridley was kind of unexpected with. I think he had 8 catches. T.J. Simmons had 7 catches. That's a
little surprising.
That kind of snuck up out of nowhere. And then Robert Foster, obviously him getting in I think he had 3 catches. I think that's what Saban said. If that's the case, then you could see Foster and Ridley, those two have been kind of involved in the first 2 receivers in practice, with maybe them being the top 2 receivers. That's really not a surprise. Simmons though is kind of jumps out at you a little bit.
Speaking about the defense in the defensive secondary, he said that Trayvon Diggs played one side of the corner, and then he also said Anthony Everett at the other corner, and then he said Minkah at safety.
That was interesting because the whole talk early this spring was that Minkah was moving down the corner to kind of fill that spot left behind by Marlon Humphrey. It sounds like from hearing what Saban had to say that Diggs was actually more natural fit at corner, and it had less to do, I think, with Minkah's ability to play corner. It was just a natural fit to move Diggs to that corner and have Minkah slip back into safety. And if that's the case, then it's really just like a puzzle, And if Diggs' puzzle piece fits right here, you can move Minkah back into that safety. That's what they'll probably do.
Switching the offensive line, Coach Saban said that Cotton was at right guard, Womack at right tackle.
Yeah, and he also said that Cotton could play right tackle if he needed to play right tackle. He did mention that Womack is improving at right tackle, so it's still still kind of touch and go with the offensive line. I think he also mentioned that the offensive line didn't create enough push in the running game, and that was kind of something that they wanted to improve moving forward. So it'll be interesting to see how that progresses. It's still the first practice, so there's a lot of time.
You can catch all our coverage back on BamaInsider.com. For Tony Tsoukalas, my name is Kyle Henderson. You can also follow us on Twitter at BamaInsider and same on Facebook. Coming from Bryant Denny Stadium, BamaInsider.com.